Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, January 7th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also, if you trade Bitcoin, I will do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol FUBO. Very big mover today, massive volume with the news and everything that came out. So let's map out some key levels headed into Tuesday. So first area is what I would call the ideal level, meaning you say, hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest going forward? And that would be if the price could stay up there above $4.42. Now with that being said, if the price falls below that level, that does not mean the entire chart's epically destroyed or anything like that. But yeah, if the price could stay above there, that'd be a very impressive sign of strength. The main level to watch moving forward here in terms of just more so an overarching standpoint would be all about the purple line down there, the 50-period simple moving average. Keyword definitely being moving because I understand the price is way up there, that line's way down there. But as time goes on and the week plays out, that line is going to move itself higher and higher, which is basically going to be a trend line that draws itself for you. So as long as you care about the bigger picture point of view, as long as the price stays above the trend line, then overall the full trend is fully in the bull's favor. In terms of areas of resistance, no need to overcomplicate this. Just ask a simple question: where did the party finally stop today? And that eventually happened a couple of times right up there around $5.25. So a couple of instances, price got up there, couldn't quite push through it. So no need to overcomplicate that. Keep a close eye on 525. But all things considered, monster movement, monster volume, and as traders, that's what it's all about. We need that volume, we need that volatility, and that's what's been provided here. Next one, ticker symbol BOXL, and we have ourselves a good solid pattern here. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. Top of the pattern, we have that resistance trend line right there. And then at the bottom of the pattern, we have this area of support down here. Change that to green for support. And then to make the pattern easier to see, let me just keep it and turn it into one color here. So once again, we have our resistance, we have our support. We have this huge explosive move right there. And then for you golfers out there trying to make it a little bit more visual for you, put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's bullish in pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But would it be shocking? Would it catch people off guard if the price came up here and then broke through that level, and then that break in and of itself created additional buying pressure? No, I don't think that would catch anybody off guard, even if you just want to call that a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the argument is, well, a lot of people are just watching that pattern they bought just because it broke the pattern. Okay, fair enough. But at the end of the day, that's what we care about. Well, what are people more than likely going to do? So even if it is just a self-fulfilling prophecy, so be it. So if you like stocks down below $5, you like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one here, PLUG, and this had, again, a very nice day. It started off late last week. Big move there, pullback, big move there, and then an even bigger move right there. So yes, a lot of people got to think are watching this one moving forward. So let's map out some key levels. First level is going back to what I've talked about before, the ideal level. Hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest going forward? And that would be if the price can stay above the 304 mark. But again, does not mean if the price falls below it, the entire chart's ruined or anything like that. From the big picture point of view, keep an eye on, once again, that purple line right there, which you now know is the 50-period moving average. So as time goes by and that line moves higher and higher, as long as price stays above that level, assuming you care about the big picture point of view, then the overall trend is still plenty in the bull's favor. And then in terms of levels of resistance, once again, no need to overcomplicate this. Just ask the question, where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there, right around the $3.25 mark. So keep an eye on that. But all things considered, great movement, great volume. We'll see if the bulls can continue to build upon the momentum as the week plays out. Next one here, RGTI, and I'm going to get a little spicy here just because this one has been very strong, but the technical pattern in play. So let me get this put into play here. We have that area of resistance right there. And then we have this support line right there. In my opinion, that is a rising wedge pattern, and a rising wedge is a bearish pattern. Now, as I said already, just because there's a bullish pattern does not mean the price is for sure going to go up. Same is true here. Just because it's a bearish pattern does not mean the price is for sure going to go down. Now, I also want to clarify, when I say pullback or when I say the price may need to come down some more, I by no means some sort of massive crash. I'm just saying a little bit of a deeper pullback. This pattern is suggesting that this needs a little bit more of a break. So yeah, could it pull back around here? I don't think that would be a very shocking move at all, especially just given how much this thing has moved. But again, I want to just, before you lose your mind in the comment section, a pullback, a bearish pattern does not mean crashing to oblivion. It just suggests that the price may need to pull back a bit more than what it already has. So it's pretty straightforward here in terms of this one. RGTI, 30-minute rising wedge pattern, which is bearish. Does the bearish pattern produce more of a pullback? We'll see. Next one here, NVDA, very nice move for today, although last 30 minutes here getting a little bit, spicy as there's a bigger pullback here, although it did bounce. But regardless, updates here definitely need to be done. First key update is based on a foundational rule in charting and will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from Friday. But if you did watch that video, hopefully remember me talking about that area of resistance. But the basic rule states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward, 146.60 would now be that ideal level of support, which you know what I mean by that now. And then just from an overarching standpoint, because if the price were to fall below there, doesn't mean NVIDIA is destroyed. But big picture wise now, keep an eye on that purple line there, 50 period moving average. So that line moves itself higher and higher. As long as the price stays above that moving average, then the overall trend is putting in higher lows, and that's what it's all about. Uptrends are built by putting in higher bases, and in order to stay above that purple line, it would need to build higher bases. So keep an eye on that. In terms of areas of resistance, the level, you got to think a lot of people are watching, probably putting in a trend line like that. Very similar, if not that exact same one. Very basic there, so I'm not trying to press you and imply that was a great discovery on my part. I know I think a lot of people have done that, and I make those comments because when a lot of people are drawing the same trend lines and watching the same trend lines, as I talked about earlier, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some dynamic movement. So no guarantees, but is it valid to think the price could come up here, push through there, and then that break right there creates additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So keep an eye on this one moving forward, and we'll see if the momentum can continue. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage you can use there. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, XTIA, and this is exactly why I like to do these when the markets are still open, because check this one out. It is absolutely beast mode in here, last 30 minutes, pushing to highs. Check out the volume bar down here. So a huge movement here. But other than that, it's not a whole lot I can talk about because technically speaking, for those of you that want to play the breakout or play some sort of pattern, so there was a bit of a pattern that formed there. Well, that breakout happened right there, and that's long gone. So that has passed. But going back to a comment I made earlier, as traders, especially if you like penny stocks, you need a whole lot of volume. You don't want to get stuck in something, and you need good, solid movement. And both of those are in play right now. So last 30 minutes has shown a return of volume. It's shown still the ability to move very quickly. So those two things sometimes is all you really care about, because I'm not saying this will occur, but in theory, who knows? Maybe something like this happens on Tuesday, price pulls back a little bit. So in that situation, what would you have? Well, you'd have a pullback there. You'd have this big move up. So you technically have a bull flag pattern. And then, who knows, Wednesday or maybe late on Tuesday, all of a sudden the price breaks to the upside. I'm not saying that's going to occur, but the whole idea here is when you have the volume, you have the volatility, then just being aware of that and then keeping it on your watch list to watch and see if something does develop is all you need. So, absolutely monster closeout to the day here. Big volume, very nice price movement. We'll see if it carries into Tuesday. Next one here, SPRC, and I like this one, namely because I think a lot of people have drawn something very, very similar to this, if not this exact trend line, but that level right there. So as I mentioned earlier, when a lot of people are watching the same trend line and wondering the same thing, can produce those self-fulfilling prophecies. So if the price were to curl back upwards, get to that area and break up through it, no guarantees, but valid to think that if the price breaks through that trend line right there, it could create another round of upside buying pressure and momentum. In my opinion, yeah, that's absolutely a more than plausible scenario. So keep an eye on that trend line there and look for any sort of potential turnaround. In terms of levels of support, if this thing wants to continue on down, main area of support is basically just down here, the lows of today, which are at the 85.5-cent mark. So for those of you that like to play in potential double bottoms, you already have bottom number 1 right there. So it's just a question of, would this be bottom number 2 if the price were to come down here, and then would it get the bounce? So a couple different ways you could approach it, but going back to kind of what I've already talked about, you got good volume, you got good volatility, and that's what we want and need as traders. Next one here, ARBE, and I love this one just because of the simplicity of the breakout point, and that is right there at $4.50. So to reiterate, as I've said, Not trying to impress you. This is not a great skill or a special discovery. This took me all about 2.7 seconds to see, if not even lower than that. But you can see right there, price got up to that area, rejected. Once again, right there, rejected. So it goes to state that if the price were to curl back upwards and break up through there, that could in and of itself create additional buying pressure. So just a very clean-cut breakout point. And, one of those potential self-fulfilling prophecy type, areas on the chart there. If there is more of a pullback, then key area to watch from a pullback standpoint, down here right around this $3.62 mark. Not exact, but kind of a middle ground, because a couple times you had the price go right there, and then you had a time where the price dropped even further. So that level in my mind gives a nice little middle ground there that could potentially be an area of support if you like to play more so pullbacks. But if you like to play breakouts, then like I said, you definitely have a very well-defined potential breakout point. Next one here, LCID, and not a very good late day today, not a very good last 30 minutes. As I'm speaking, you can see the price continuing to drop down. However, from the big picture point of view, you can see here the price is still very much so in an overall uptrend. So it's not like today has ruined the entire chart or anything like that. Now, I understand it depends on perspective. If you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, or you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 14 minutes, well then, yeah, from that standpoint, the chart's looking pretty rough. But if you care about the bigger picture, the price is still hanging in there. Although I will say that looking like another level of resistance has kind of reestablished itself right there around $3.52. You can see that was a high from a few days ago, and then once the price broke below it and the bounce came back up, generally speaking, that's right where the price started to struggle again. So moving forward, in my mind, 352 going to be a key area of resistance. If this pullback continues, key area of support, I'm not going to call it a do or die or must hold level, but definitely an important one right there, that purple line there, 50 period moving average right now valued at $3.20. So yes, if you were just a day trader that bought right there, then today was an absolute train wreck. However, if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, even with a pullback, the price does still have plenty of opportunity to build an overall higher base. Next one, SOUN, and we're at a very, very interesting point in the chart's history right now, and that has to do with the fact of that pink line there, which on my chart, it's a very well-known, the very famous 200 period moving average, and if you have just even a basic understanding of charts, you know that when the price is above it, you ideally want to see the price stay above it, assuming you are bullish, and you can see so far so good. Right there, price got relatively close, stayed above it. Right there, just flat out bounce off of it. And then as I speak right now, yes, technically speaking, the price is slightly below this area, but it's still within the general vicinity of that area, which leads to the question moving forward of, is this area going to ultimately hold, or are the bears going to take a big step from a technical standpoint and begin to push the price down through? Because if the price does start to separate further to the downside, again, that doesn't mean the entire chart is destroyed, but it does suggest from a story perspective that the story is changing and the bears are beginning to gain more control. So right now, I would still give the advantage to the bulls because, like I said, it is still staying within the range of this area. But any sort of deeper separation to the downside, the further it separates, the more and more evidence, the more and more of an argument you can make that the bulls are losing control and that the bears are gaining control. If there is any sort of bounce, main area of resistance right now is going to be that purple line right there, 50 period moving average. You can see it behaved as resistance right there. But in my opinion, at least, the top priority right now is not necessarily bouncing or seeing how far it can go up, but just simply maintaining and ensuring that it doesn't start to separate even further and further away from that pink line. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a moment, but again, for you stock traders out there, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, as I mentioned earlier, then definitely go get signed up for the free live webinar. It'll be later this week, Thursday, January 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. And then also, as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these and you want to show some support to the channel in a super easy, super free way, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does help. All right, now let's talk some Bitcoin. First off, one clarification, we are now on the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 4 hours as opposed to 30 minutes. And that's because Bitcoin is open 24/7. And in order for this video and analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible, I want to talk about more so a broader standpoint, walk you through some questions, and that'll keep this, like I said, as relevant for as long as possible. But overall, Bitcoin had itself a very, very solid weekend, and that's where question number one comes into play. So let's just say you're watching this video, 15 hours after I upload it. Question number one is, where's the price at relative to that pink line right there, the 200 period moving average? As long as you're saying the price is above that level, then everything is fine. Because if you stop and think about it, even if the price were to come all the way down here and then just start to go sideways, what would you still have from the bigger picture? Well, you'd still have a set of lows there and there and there and there and down there. And if you envision each of those as stair steps, well, then these stair steps are still progressing in the upward direction. So sure, it'd be much more enjoyable if the price continues to boom upwards. But like I said, that just shows the strength of the current movement, is that the price could be all the way down to that pink line and you'd still have that chance at a higher base. Now, if you're saying, well, Clay, not only is the price still above that pink line, but it's, actually still up here, or if it's even higher, well, that's just telling you that Bitcoin is not only maintaining these gains that we're looking at right now, but it's built upon them. So common sense will take you far in that regard. The further up above the pink line the price happens to be, the more and more powerful Bitcoin actually is. Now, if somehow you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is down below that pink line, which I'd be shocked if that were the answer. But if you are answering it that way, next immediate question would be, okay, well, where's the price at relative to the purple line? And if somehow you're answering the question that the price is down below there, that is, again, not game over, but that is a pretty big red flag that something has gone wrong, because that would imply that this big move here has been totally wiped away. Again, I highly doubt you're answering the question that way, but nonetheless, those would be the levels to keep an eye on and the questions to ask. And as I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader to definitely get signed up for this class, because what you'll learn about can and certainly should be used within the world of Bitcoin and crypto. So definitely go get signed up for it. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, January 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. And as I mentioned earlier, if you enjoy these videos, if you appreciate doing Bitcoin and you want to show some support to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. So thanks for watching. Go get signed up for the free class.